Good evening, race fans, and welcome out here to the Concord Motor Speedway here in Concord, North Carolina, as we bring you tonight's racing action of the Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Tour. Renu Sealcoating has been around for over 20 years, protecting and maintaining southern Wisconsin driveways, parking lots, and playgrounds. With over 75 years of combined asphalt experience, they treat each customer like family and stand by their work every time. Whether it's your home driveway or megastore parking lot, Renu Sealcoating can have you covered. Call 608-576-7897 or visit them online at renusealcoating.com for a quote today. Mad Plowing is the proud sponsor of our Hard Luck and Fast Time Awards this season, and they are serving Oregon, Wisconsin, and surrounding areas, as they are the trusted name for all your landscaping needs. Call 608-217-3528 and let Mad Plowing show you the meaning of speed. RC2 Graphic Solutions, your events, our designs. Whether you are in the market for some help with your marketing, your league, racing events, or real-life racetrack, RC2 Graphic Solutions can help you. Contact Robbie today at rc2graphicsolutions@gmail.com. Wizards Designs, our home resident sign maker. And for our award trophies here at the North-South Racing League, Wizards Designs can make you custom-made signs with LED lights crafted in vibrant acrylics. Wizards Designs is where creativity meets craftsmanship. You can reach on out to them at facebook.com at Whitco23 or reach out to David at davidwitkowski at yahoo.com to bring your ideas to life. And Austin Designs, the proud sponsor of our Choose Cone. And whether you are in the market or need a new ride, Austin Designs can make it happen for you and make your car look great on the racetrack. You can check out some of his work here tonight at the North-South Racing League's Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Tour. And we bring in Kelly. And Kelly, first off the bat, I want to thank you for taking the lead last week, as I was a little under the weather. Not out of the woods yet, but feeling much better this week as we are here at one of my favorite racetracks, Concord.
Yeah, we've been talking about this one a lot ever since last week, as we've both been kind of looking forward to this one. It's a very unique track, as you've been saying, fairly high banked and a bit of a triangle, almost like how you've described it as a mini Pocono.
Yeah, absolutely. And this racetrack doesn't really get seen a lot on the racing platform here, but tonight it is going to be a good one as we take a look. Race number 12 of 15. Only 3 races remain in the 2025 Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Tour. It's hard to believe that this one is coming to an end, Kelly. But tonight, half-mile racetrack. There is no prior history for a late model stock, so we'll set a new track record here tonight. And Dante Curtis has the most wins in NSRL history with 2 as they come in here tonight. And they've only been here with the street stock, so good to see the late model stocks in action here tonight.
Yeah, so our fastest qualifier here tonight will set the track record for this series going forward, and we'll have to see what is going to happen here. Dante Curtis being the fastest driver, I don't believe he's actually out here tonight. This is not one of the tracks he's been able to make it to this season, since he's running a part-time schedule, but I think it's just about time for qualifying. Let's see who's going to claim that first track record.
Yeah, and coming in here to tonight, we'll take a look at the points. After Milwaukee last week, Bryan Hacker's point lead grows to 36 over Guillaume Fortin. How about Dylan Connor, the rookie? 2 rookies inside the top 5 in points, as Dylan Connor sits third and Scott Negus in the number 55 sits fourth, and Phillip Martin rounding out your top 5 in the point standings as they come into tonight's racing action. But right now it is time for Mad Plowing Fast Time qualifying.
Yeah, we have a few drivers out there already coming out to take times. I think Randy Nichols is the first one to have crossed the stripe on his first time to start his first time lap. Take a look here as he comes through turn 3. What is he going to set to be our first driver? I think he got a little loose off of the corner there, so not going to be the best time out of him. 16.1. still pretty good. It's going to be the top of the board as Dan Janjanin comes in with a 16.252.
Yeah, Dan Jannon right there, coming right there, just .07 off of the time. So right now, Randy Nichols up on top of the scoring pylon as we launch the 85 of Austin Williams. He's working down here through turns 3 and 4. This racetrack, he gets a little bit out of shape, Kelly. In this racetrack, these drivers are going to have their hands full. You work through this little bit of a dogleg through turns 1 into turn 2. And then a really short straightaway, which into a sweeping turns 3 and 4. We'll see what lap number 2 has in hole is now Travis Hoffler to the top of the scoring pylon as he's taken the number 7 car to the provisional pole and current track record with a 16.15.
It's looking like the first lap is going to be the fast lap here, so these guys have to get it right off the bat as Scott Negus comes in at the 4th fastest time. The other Scott Austin, will be down in 8th with a 16.373. And Negus crossed the line on the second lap, and yeah, it's going to be much slower. So these cars are really good on that first lap, and those tires immediately start to overheat. Yeah. Adam Gable, he's going to come across the line in 5th.
Hey, Gable putting a good time with 16.19. Braiden Campbell now into the 6th spot. Dustin Shepard getting up to speed as he works here in the turns 3 and 4. And we'll see what kind of lap time the Zufab Garage DCD-sponsored Camaro can put onto the board as Campbell goes quicker on lap number 2. He just made a liar out of you, Kelly.
I think he's the first driver that's actually gone faster on the second lap. Actually, no, Josh Cole and Scott Austin have done so as well, but though not by much. But yeah, it's Travis Hoffler still sitting at the top of the board, but that is not for long. Dustin Shepard now, 16.116 out of him, so that 89 car is flying.
Yeah, new track record for the Zufab Garage. We'll see if lap number 2 can be quicker for Shepard. He comes across the line and just a couple tenths slower is now Phillip Martin up onto the racetrack in his 46 car. Another new paint scheme on the race car, and he's had some good luck with the pink on the race car ever since the Kendall Hacker Memorial, and a good-looking hot rod for the 46 of Phillip Martin, who takes the green flag.
Yeah, Phillip Martin going to be coming around on his timed lap now. We got a few of our other fast drivers getting up to speed. Rob Donaldson, Guillaume Fortin, Bryan Hacker all coming out, getting ready to do their first lap. So let's see what Phillip Martin's going to do, though, as he comes across the line 3rd fastest, just a couple hundredths of a second off. He puts down a 16.160, but he's going to come around and do his second flying lap, as well as Bryan Hacker can only manage 7th fastest, but he will have to take an EOL after winning last week, as Phillip Martin does improve on his second lap. Now, Guillaume Fortin, top of the board, 16.063.
16.0, and Bryan Hacker will go slower on lap number 2. So now one of our fastest qualifiers all season long up onto the racetrack. That's the number 90 of Dylan Connor, and he has set the fast time 4 times this season, Kelly, and he has got another fast hot rod here tonight at the Concord Raceway for the Piedmont Challenge 125. Off of turn number 4, here comes Connor. He'll come across the line, and he'll go top of the board with a new track record, 16.01, and he'll shut it down as he will claim the Mad Plowing Fast Time Award here this afternoon and set a new track record here for qualifying. So Dylan Connor going to take home another Mad Plowing Fast Time Award. Congratulations to him, and thank you on behalf of Mad Plowing, the people of Speed. Tonight's Fast Time Award is brought to you by Mad Plowing, proud sponsors of Speed. Whether it's clearing snow in the winter or keeping lawns to sharp in the summer, Mad Plowing gets the job done fast and efficiently, serving Oregon, Wisconsin, and surrounding areas. They're the trusted name for all your landscaping needs. Let Mad Plowing show you the meaning of speed. Just like that, it is now time to head into our weekly redraw presented by RC2 Graphic Solutions.
Yeah, looks like we've got everyone lined up here. So I think we're just about ready to go for our redraw. We've got all 8 drivers, and these guys will have a pick of one of the numbers 1 through 8, and we'll see what they're gonna get here tonight, because it'll shape up the starting lineup just a little bit. And Al, who do we got first?
Up first is the driver of the number 90, Dylan Connor, with a track record here tonight of 16.015. And Dylan, another Mad Plowing Fast Time Award. Congratulations on that, man. The car looking really sporty here. What about Concord do you like the best?
I like the fact it's kind of tricky. I think you got 3 different corners you can kind of make mistakes on. So I think it's a driver's track. I think, he's going to have safe tires and just going to be on your toes every corner.
Well, yeah, I would agree with you 100%. This is one of my favorite race tracks back when I was allowed to strap into a race car before they said, well, you stink too bad, let's put you in the booth. So tonight, 1 through 8 here in the RC2 Graphic Solutions redraw. The poll is obviously available. You get the first choice. What number would you like here?
I'll try to go with lucky number 3.
Number 3. So number 3 coming off the board early, and that is going to be P5. So inside row number 3 here tonight. The inside, outside, do you think it's going to matter here tonight?
Yeah, I think from the start, I think the inside's going to be dominant, but I got a feeling it's going to start to push real bad later on in the race. I think you'll see the top side be able to come in really good at the end.
All right, sir. We wish you the best of luck. We'll be watching what you can do from that P5 starting spot. Congratulations again on the Mad Plowing Fast Time Award here tonight, and best of luck here in tonight's 125-lap main event.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Kelly Dahl, you got our second qualifier who just missed that fast time by .045.
Yeah, here now with Guillaume Fortin, driver of the 13QC. And Guillaume, this is probably the most unique track of the schedule. What are you expecting here?
Oh, it's gonna be a special night, I think. It's a track that a lot of us don't have a lot of track time on it, so hopefully it can go well and we can end up at the front.
All right, well, number 3 has been taken. The poll is still out there. What number would you like tonight?
I'll go with number 5.
Number 5 coming off the board. That means you'll be starting up towards the front, but it's going to be the outside pole. Do you think the outside is going to be a line you can run here on the start?
Yeah, I don't think the outside is gonna work tonight. It's probably gonna hopefully be able to get back to the inside, but it's a good starting point, I think. Up front is really good up here.
All right, Guillaume, well, good luck to you. Hopefully you can turn that good starting position into a good finishing position. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
So Guillaume Fortin going to be taking the outside pole in that 13QC machine.
Daddy will. The pole still available as we slide into our third fast qualifier here tonight. Dustin Shepard, another sporty hot rod underneath you here at the tricky mini triangle here at the Concord.
Yeah.
So I mean, another good qualifying effort for you here tonight. Get yourself into the RC2 Graphic Solutions redraw, and the pole's still available out there. What's it going to take to put this 89 in victory lane tonight?
The pole and short runs with cautions.
Short runs and cautions. All right. We like it. Well, I can tell you that the pole is still available. Numbers 3 and number 5 have come off the board. Those were the outside pole and 5th starting spot, respectfully. So 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, or 8. What number would you like?
2.
Number 2. And Dustin Shepard, your bad luck of draws is over. You got the pole.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Sweet.
So we got one of the two. We got 50% of the goal. Now we just need some short runs for you. It sounds like.
Yeah. Said yes. I'll burn the right front off on a super long run. So that's my weakness.
All right, sir. Well, we look forward to seeing what you can do. Hopefully, we're talking to you here in the ZooFab victory lane at the post race.
All right, thank y'all.
All right, Dustin Shepard going to roll off from the pole, Kelly. So the front row completely eliminated.
Yeah, Front row is done, but we're going to keep moving along here. We've now got Phillip Martin here. So, Phillip, we've been hearing of some drivers say that the outside's going to work later on, some that say it's never going to come in. What do you think is going to happen here tonight at this little triangle?
I really hope it comes in. Usually it's good for a couple laps on a restart, something like that, but sooner or later the bottom prevails. But I hope the top comes in and hangs in there for a while.
All right, well, 2, 3, and 5 have already been taken. The front row is locked out. What would you like here tonight?
Let's go 6.
Number 6 coming off the board. Well, you're not going to be starting on the outside for this initial start, but you're going to be starting back in P7. Do you think you can maybe turn that into a win still?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Hang around there and take care of it. And see what we got at the end.
All right, well, good luck to you, Phillip. We'll see if you can turn it around and see if we'll talk to you later on tonight.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so Phillip Martin will be rolling off back in 7th. That's half of our spots down and half to go.
Absolutely, and now we're going to catch up with a driver that qualified 5th, and I believe his first RC2 Graphic Solutions redraw, Travis Hoffler, is in the house. Travis, a fast qualifying lap here tonight in this number 7 car. Will that translate into a good race for you, do you think?
Probably not. I don't know where I pulled that lap out of, but we can hope for the best, I guess.
Well, we're halfway through the redraw. The front row is gone, so that's the bad news I got for you. But this racetrack going to be very racy and very technical racetrack. Do you think that bodes well for you tonight?
Yeah, if we can save some tires, save the right front, that's gonna be a key is saving that right front. So if I can just hold back a little bit, and maybe get a long run in, and maybe we can make something out of it.
All right, sir. Well, numbers 1, 4, 7, and 8 are left to choose from. Which number would you like?
Give me 1.
Number 1 going to come off the board, and that is going to be P number 8. So outside that row number 4, that outside going to be the kiss of death, or you think you can be able to make something happen up there?
It's gonna be brutal, but we'll have fun doing it.
All right. Well, congratulations on making it into the RC2 Graphic Solutions, and thank you for your time. Best of luck here tonight. Hopefully, we'll talk to you at the end of the Piedmont Challenge.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Travis Hoffler going to roll off in P number 8, Kelly.
Yeah, we're going to keep moving along and to get our next driver here. It's going to be Braiden Campbell. And Braiden, it's definitely a unique track here. What do you think is going to happen here over 125 laps?
I'm not too sure. I've never really ran this track. I know you just got to keep the right front the whole race, so.
All right, well, 4, 7, and 8 are your only choices here tonight. What number would you like tonight?
Let's go with 8.
Number 8 coming off the board, so you will be starting back in P number 6. Do you still think you can maybe turn that around? You qualified 6th fastest.
Yeah, I think so. We just got to be there at the end.
All right, well, maybe you can be there at the end. If you are, we will be talking to you later, so good luck to you, Braiden.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Braiden Campbell, he'll be rolling off in P6 after qualifying in P6.
Next driver up is a driver out of Texas, and it is the Cintas 69 of Randy Nichols. And Randy, welcome back into the RC2 Graphic Solution redraw. As we get down to the final 2, you got 4 and 7 left to draw from. What number would you like?
Let's just go with lucky number 7.
Lucky number 7 coming off the board, and that is going to be inside row number 2, P number 3 for Randy Nichols. And a good starting spot here tonight. What's it going to take to keep that 69 up front?
Not getting tight and pushing through the corners and hitting the wall. So I think that's going to be key.
Yeah, don't L it. I don't know if you ever raced with me or not, but I'm notorious for hitting the wall. Just don't do it. It's not.
Yeah, I'm gonna try my hardest.
All right. Well, welcome to the RC2 Graphic Solutions. We look forward to seeing what you can do here tonight in your 3rd starting spot. Best of luck to you.
Appreciate it.
All right, Randy Nichols going to roll off P number 3, and that leaves just one more driver, Kelly, and you've got up with him, the driver of the 23.
Yeah, here now with the driver of the 23, Gary Eschen. And Gary, 125 laps here. Everyone is talking about that right front tire. Do you think we're going to go the full way and it's going to have to be a tire-saving battle?
I don't know if it's going to go the whole way. This is a pretty tight, tricky track, so I think we'll see a caution here and there. But, yeah, the right front is definitely going to be something you got to try to save, and hopefully we can manage somehow to do that.
All right, well, bad news, good news, bad news. So bad news is you don't get your choice. Good news, your position is up towards the front. Bad news is it's on the outside. You'll be starting in P number 4 tonight. How do you think about that spot?
Well, I'm sure we'll get shuffled back, and hopefully we can drop in line somewhere and not fall all the way to the rear. But, yeah, it'll be interesting. I think later on we might see the top group come in a little bit, but it's pretty tight there running the top. I tried it there in practice a little bit, and I kept getting into the wall. So, yeah, it's definitely going to be tricky out there.
All right, we'll see if you can turn that 4th place spot into at least a top 3 finish. Good luck to you, Gary.
Thank you.
So Gary Eschen, our last driver there, he'll be rolling off in P4, and a lot of these guys saying that outside line is not going to be the place to be.
No, and it's interesting to hear that, Kelly, as that was the wrap-up of RC2 Graphics Solutions. And remember, it's your event, our designs. And Kelly, when you look back to live pictures, that the checkered flag will be waving where someone hopes to be here in Victory Lane here at the Concord Motorsports Park here in the races here tonight. And it's going to be a good one here as we get ready to go with tonight's 125 lap main event. As we'll get you your starting lineup as Barney gets that arm warmed up there in the tower, and we'll give you tonight's starting lineup, and it looks like this. Starting on the pole, virtue of the redraw, Dustin Shepard will lead over Guillaume Fortin, which will roll off in P number 2. Randy Nichols and Gary Eschen will make up row number 2. Dylan Connor and Braiden Campbell, 5th and 6th. 7th starting spot will be Phillip Martin, and starting 8th will be Travis Hoffler. Starting in the 9th spot, qualifying 9th, was Bryan Hacker. Remember, he'll go to the tail of the field due to his win last week at Milwaukee. Scott Negus will roll off 10th. Adam Gable and Matt Hackathorn, your first 6 rows.
Yeah, following those drivers up is going to be the 9 of Josh Cole, followed by Dan Janet on his outside in the 2. Josh Nelms will be rolling off in that 00 car in 15th spot, with Scott Austin to his outside in 16th. Rodney Huntoon finds himself in 17th to start the night, with Rob Donaldson in 18th. 19th, we'll see the 93 of Chad McLeod with Austin Williams to his outside, rounding out the field before we have our tail end driver is going to be the 21 of Jeff Bergner.
Yeah, so 21 car strong is... Well, we tried lobbying for a new rule here, but we'll keep that to ourselves. I'm not sure if they'll go with that, Kelly. But your thoughts as we get ready to go racing here at Concord for the Piedmont Challenge 125.
Definitely looking forward to this one. It is a unique track, very interesting track. Pace car now down and away. Dustin Shepard leads the field towards tonight's first green flag. Let's see what that 89 car can do as he leads this 21 car strong field. And green flag is up. We are underway as Guillaume Fortin immediately getting pushed along by Gary Eschen. He's trying to get that outside line moving. We heard the outside may work in the first few laps, but so far Dylan Shepard able to hold on to that inside. He's now going to clear the 13 QC.
Yeah, Shepard going to clear him. Here comes Randy Nichols trying to fit in there. That momentum on the outside, though, carries the 13 into spot number 2 as they're all still working, jostling for positions. And early on in this one, you're going to want to get into a rhythm. This racetrack is very abrasive on the tires. They only got one extra set in the pits for the full 125-lap race. As now the field rolls there back there. Gary Eschen sliding backwards as he's got Hoffler in the 7 car working underneath him. So Gary, who started back in P number 4, has fallen all the way back to P7. Finds a home. In there is now Braiden Campbell. Will be the car on the outside as Hoffler gets shuffled to the outside through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, Eschen really crossed up Hoffler coming off of the last corner. Now actually checking up and allowing that 7 through. So he is going to give up on trying to move himself forward and just try to save the tires for now. Looks like 33 of Campbell is still stuck to the outside. He had a good starting spot in 6th, but has not been able to find the bottom. And as driver said, the inside line is not the place to be, especially early on in this night. And he is going to struggle. He's not going to find that bottom until Scott Austin gets by. So he's going to go all the way from 6th to 14th before he finally finds himself a gap on the bottom lane.
Yeah, I don't think he was pushing it too hard, as being on that outside can really hurt the tires on these race cars, and everybody kind of just pretty much single filing it out. Bryan Hacker already up 5 positions as he slides in there behind the 21 of Jeff Bergner. Is up front, Dustin Shepard has about a 4-car length advantage over Randy Nichols as lap number 7 clicks off, starting lap number 8. And Kelly, this racetrack very tricky. In the inside, you can use it to kind of maybe help the car rotate a little bit, but it really unloads that suspension in a bad way.
Yeah, the track is fairly banked, so it can kind of allow you to hook it a little bit, but you do it too much, and it's definitely going to kick you out of control. It looks like the drivers are avoiding that line through turn 2. A couple of them I've been seeing through practice. They usually do it through 3 and 4.
A little bit deeper in the field. Now here comes the 12 of Huntoon. As we see behind them, Bryan Hacker took a look underneath Jeff Bergner. Bergner was sideways. That stacks up the field behind him. Williams going to get underneath Hackathorn. So Hackathorn sliding back another position here. That'll be 6 spots lost at the start of this one for the 404. Don't count him out. He always seems to be up towards the front at the end of these races. Is now Bryan Hacker looking to find a way around Bergner, as everyone's kind of just biding their time as Bergner kisses that outside wall.
Yeah, he has got to find a way around Bergner. It looks like Hacker is faster, but he does not want to burn up his tires trying to make this pass. But at the same time, he's got to get himself moving at some point. But really, Hacker has no pressure at this point in the championship battle. He just has to essentially ride this race, these out, and just not get involved in any early accidents. And he should be able to cruise home to a championship victory here, as even though Guillaume Fortin currently sitting in 3rd place with the amount of points lead he's got right now, it's not really much of a threat.
Yeah, and you got to remember, early on in these races, is unless this really goes green to checkered, that Austin Design's choose cone could really come into effect. We've seen it this season, where if 4 or 5 guys in front of you choose that inside, you jump a bunch of positions by choosing the outside. So we really have to see how that will come into play a little bit later on, if we are to see a Wizards Design yellow flag. As right now everybody kind of just biding their time riding out. Only 7 seconds separating your entire field.
Yeah, and the field going about 2 to 3 tenths of a second slower than their fastest laps at this point. Those tires already starting to burn off a little bit. Drivers trying to also take it a little easy, trying to save it as much as they can. As Travis Heffler is actually all over the back end of Phillip Martin. It looked like he took a couple peeks there as he's going to try. Whoa! Little bit of a lockup from Heffler. That is going to do some damage to those tires coming into turn 3.
That they are now. The 46 of Martin applying the pressure to the 90 of Connor, our top rookie of the race, sits there in spot number 4 in front of the 46 of Phillip Martin. And Phillip Martin, this was his racetrack that he got to choose, and then the way the schedule is made up is it's a community. The drivers get to vote on there. Then you have your admins, and depending on your point positions, you get to choose what racetracks you like to see, and that's how we get to see such a diverse race schedule year in and year out here for the North-South Racing League. And I like the way they do that. And, well, change for your race lead as Randy Nichols has worked underneath Dustin Shepard.
Yeah, but Dustin Shepard fighting back into turn 1. He's going to go for it. Oh, nearly turns Nichols around as he got into the left rear quarter panel. And that is going to check up the 89. Maybe give an opportunity for Guillaume to get in there, as Shepard is actually going to have to take a defensive line into turn 3. So Randy Nichols now taking over your race lead. Justin Shepard racing hard to try to hold on to second, but it looks like he is not running faster than Guillaume. Guillaume having a good run there into turn 3 as Shepard drives it hard in to hold on to the spot for now, as actually Guillaume had to check up and almost lost ground to the 90 of Connor.
Remember, we talked to him during the RC2 graphics redraw. He said he needed short runs to help maintain the positions there, as a long run was not really suiting him tonight in that 89 car. But he's currently holding on to that number 2 spot, holding off Guillaume Fortin. And Connor is, everyone starting to really start to apply the pressure. And we're at that point now, 1/5 mark of this race completed, Kelly. This is where the cars are going to start going through a transition period. The tires are getting a temperature, and we're going to start seeing the grip level. And you can already start to see the marbles building up around this racetrack, and those are going to make it hard for these drivers as well. If they miss that line, it's going to be like being on ice.
Yeah, there's a couple drivers you've seen that have locked up going into 3. There's a couple of dark streaks entering that corner of drivers that have just driven it in hard, and those are the drivers that you're going to see starting to struggle at this point in the race, and they'll start dropping back. As looking through our field, looks like the 33 of Campbell has been shuffled out of line once again. He's dropping even further. So troubles for the 33 here tonight as he started the race in P6. He now finds himself in 19th, having to defend the position from Rob Donaldson.
Yeah, a little bit of damage to the right side of that race car, it looks like, as they work down here in the turns 1 and 2, a little bit further in front of them. Austin Williams, contact! And Bryan Hacker in trouble, and our first Wizards Design yellow flag comes out as trouble right there, and it doesn't look like too much damage on the number 2 car, Kelly, but lost a lot of positions and locked those tires up at the very least. Let's take a look back here and see. The truck says they have it. Let's take a look back here and see what happened to Bryan Hacker. Taking a look underneath Bergner in the turns 1 and 2. Just washed up into the Bergner, and he gets turned sideways, and heavy contact into the inside retaining wall. Gotta wonder if that maybe damaged some suspension or the radiator compartment in these late model stocks here presented by Renu Sealcoating. And Bryan Hacker quickly into his pit box to see what kind of damage it was, and already down in the way, so maybe got a little bit lucky there.
Yeah, maybe he decided it wasn't that bad and decided to just keep going for now. Visually, it doesn't look that bad, but I can tell you from experience, visual is one thing. It could be having some major issues underneath. Personally was doing a race in the Nürburgring not too long ago. We had a little bit of damage. We thought, it's not that bad, but we were losing tons of time through the straights, and then we came down pit road and ended up with about 5 minutes of damage. So maybe Bryan Hacker saw it was that much time and went, you know what, let's just go for now and see what we can do. Or maybe he came down and went, all right, well, it's only like 10 seconds. Let's just keep going.
We're going to find out this time off of turns 3 and 4. I believe it is time for our Austin Designs Choose Cone. And Randy Nichols will go low and Shepard will go high. So
yeah, Dustin Shepard is the first taker on the high side, and I think our next one is the 46 of Phillip Martin. He's going to try to see if he can make that outside line work. A couple other drivers going up there as well. Looks like Josh Cole and Gary Eschen will actually go for it as well. He elects to not take the inside, and he's going to try to move himself up. It is a bit of a gamble. You can jump a few cars as everyone wants to prefer that inside line, but if you cannot find the gap, you can find yourself moving backwards fast, as we saw with a couple of our drivers here at the start of this race.
Yeah, and what do you got to lose if you're a little bit further back there? You maybe catch a quick yellow and gain some spots up there. But tonight's Choose Cone is brought to you by Austin Designs. Scott Austin specializes in custom paint schemes for iRacing, crafting eye-catching designs that bring your car to life on the track. His work is a staple in the North-South Racing League, with several drivers sporting his incredible designs on every broadcast. Reach out to Scott Austin for Facebook for pricing and inquiries about how to make your iRacing look to the next level.
Guillaume trying to send it on the bottom there, 3 wide, and hard impact for Dustin Shepard. That's going to bring the caution out once again, and there's going to be a lot of cars involved this time.
A lot of cars involved as Shepard gets pointed back in the right direction, as it looks like the number 12 of Huntoon. The 55 of Scott Negus going to get turned around here as well. And Negus' car might be unable to start up right now as it sits down here in turns 3 and 4. Or in turns 2 there. Now he gets it fired up and get it pointed back in the right direction. Let's take a second here, Kelly, and let's try to dissect what happened here to bring out our second Wizards Designs yellow flag. Just a hole that was not there, and then it was on everyone kind of slithering through there, but a hard contact for Shepard. Let's go on board with Jeff Bergner to see what he saw. And a couple hard hits there, Kelly. And it looked like it all started when Dustin Shepard trying to shut the door on Guillaume Fortin, and Fortin might have thrown it in there, maybe pressed the issue on that restart. What's your thoughts on what we just saw?
I don't know if he was entirely there. I mean, he saw himself having an opportunity, wanted to get himself into that gap, but I think the 89 closed the door before he really had the opportunity. But once he was there, then another car joined in on the outside and really trapped him down at the bottom. But he is elected to not claim it. This may come back and bite him later on. A lot of drivers taking inside to start here. Heffler taking the outside, and cars involved in that last incident, it may be easier to name the cars that were not involved in that last wreck, as I think we've got about the first 5 or 6 cars here at the front of the field that were not involved, and a couple drivers at the back like Donaldson and Jan Janin that were able to slow up before they reached the wreck.
Some cars moving off of pit road. That would be Gary Eschen in the 23 car rolling off of pit road. And you can see the heavy right side damage to the Mill Air Jordan entry. But Randy Nichols, Travis Hoffler, your front row. Then it is Guillaume Fortin and Scott Austin, who's up 12 positions. Dylan Connor will restart 5th. 6th will be Rob Donitson. So pace car on our way, and it looks like we're hot to trot as the Wizards yellow flag will go away. We are back underway.
Man, Heffler actually getting a great launch. Look at him, he's all over the back end of the 69 of Nichols, but how gets a little bit high coming off of turn 1 and going through 2, and that's going to give an opportunity for Guillaume to go through on the bottom side. And we know that bottom side is the strong point right now, but Heffler getting a good amount of speed down that front straightaway. However, with how short these straightaways are, that outside line just doesn't really help if you can't really use that momentum.
Yeah, I'd really say the only real straightaway that you're going straight is right here on the front straightaway. Everywhere else is kind of a slow arc through the corners. Is everyone working down through here? And Nichols, Fortin, Hoffler, Connor, Austin, your top 5. How about Bryan Hacker sitting in P number 6? As he made it through that wreck after being our car that drew our first yellow flag of the evening. Everyone kind of minding their P's and Q's now after a quick couple yellow flags there. Bergner and looks like the 89 of Shepard are on pit road, Kelly, with extensive damage. And looks like Bergner has just pulled the 21 car behind the wall.
And so is Josh Cole. Shepard still staying there for now. It looks like he does plan to fix the car up and maybe get back out there and try to just log a few laps. So he is getting more laps down as the time goes by. He's now 9 down as Randy Nichols continues to lead the field around here over Guillaume, Heffler, and Connor, who is still trying to work his way up towards the front. Scott Austin still hangs on to a top 5, and Bryan Hacker slowly creeping up behind him.
They're watching the battle a little bit deeper in the field. The 00. Donitson works the outside with the 91 of Adam Gable and the 12 of Huntoon as they will settle that position back out here as the field rolls around behind them. Josh Snelms in the 00 sits in P14 as we go back up front. Scott Austin starting to close in on the 90 of Connor. Connor has a unique line through turns 3 and 4 there, Kelly. He's able to open up a little bit of a gap over Scott Austin.
Yeah, the line might be working for him right now, but we'll have to see if he has to maybe change things up, as actually now the 2 is going to get around Scott Austin. So Bryan Hacker trying to make a move on the inside of that 5 car, and he is going to get it done through turn 1. So the 5 of Austin going to have to just slot in behind Hacker and maybe try to follow him as he tries to catch up to the 90 of Dylan Connor, who is starting to open that gap back up.
And the question still to be seen, as we alluded to, Bryan Hacker did make some significant damage or significant contact to the inside wall a little bit earlier on in this race. Doesn't seem to be hampering the performance of the car right now. But Kelly, you know as well as I do that the front of these cars are very delicate. And we're going to have to wait and see over the course of these next 70 laps or so just how much damage was done to that number 2 car.
Yeah, because that radiator is sitting right there. It is definitely possible that he has damaged that, and that car is not quite getting the cooling that it needs and could be overheating over a long run. So we'll have to keep an eye on the 2 of Hacker if he needs to back off at any point, or if he is going to end up grenading that engine later on. But we'll have to hope for the best for him. He's still rolling along here in a top 5 now, as he's going to try to catch up to the rest of this field, but he's not gaining on Connor right now, as Connor has actually got himself right up to the back end of Travis Heffler. He's starting to get himself involved and making this into a pretty much 4-way battle for the lead.
Yeah, and right now in the Guillaume Fortin just kind of they're stalking Randy Nichols, and Nichols with a bunch of speed here once again here tonight. Has had a lot of speed this season when he's been to the racetrack. Lady Luck not so much on his side sometimes, so hopefully tonight maybe he can close out the deal as we are closing lap 55, putting lap 56 up onto the board.
Yeah, and Guillaume and Nichols have both opened up the throttle a little bit, trying to push a bit harder to try to open up the gap as they've seen Dylan Connor creeping up on them. Heffler goes in hard through turn 3, and he's slow coming off of the corner. That nearly opened up an opportunity for Connor. He's actually going to go high through 1. I think the 7 has used up that right front tire a little too much. He seems to be struggling off of the corners.
Able to slam the door shut on the 90 at Connors, though, as your top 2 cars now enjoy about a 10-car length advantage over the 7 Hoffler, who's wide again through turns 1 and 2, leaving that inside lane. And he's starting to smell the blood in the water. The 90 of Connor trying to figure out how to get in the 3rd. He can see the number 2 of Bryan Hacker, the winningest driver this season, closing in on this battle. But Hoffler's line is working. Able to hold off Connor so far as he runs that uniquely higher lane through turns 1 and 2.
I wouldn't exactly say that it's working. It is definitely slower, especially compared to our leaders here. It's just that Connor has not been able to find a way to get around just yet. He's got to figure something out, though. He is definitely being held up by the 7 of Travis Heffler, as the rest of the field is starting to kind of pull away, and as well as Hacker starting to close up to them, as he himself has been running pretty much a 1/10 of a second faster.
Yeah, Bryan Hacker last time by was the fastest car on the racetrack with a 1:6.42. This time by Nichols comes swinging back with a 1:6.39. So you can see back and forth, and this racetrack just is that line sensitive. You just miss it just a little bit, and it will definitely hurt you. As now Connor looks a peek to the inside in the turn number 1. Battle for 3rd on your screen as they come through the mini dogleg in the turns 2. Down in the turn number 3, Connor. He'll take that 3rd spot away. Here comes Bryan Hacker. He's going to try to fill the hole to the inside. He can't quite do it that time off of 4.
Heffler nearly getting to the back of the 90s. He carries a lot of speed through the first turn, and I think that's really his main issue. He's trying to pull too much speed in turn 1, and that's causing him to wash up the track exiting turn 1, and that really kills his momentum for the entire rest of the lap, and really puts a lot of pressure on the right front, burning it up, overheating it, wearing it off, and that has been what has cost him so much ground to Guillaume and Randy Nichols, as he was pretty much right on the bumper of them, and now he's over a 1.5 seconds back.
that he is, and now he's going to field the number 2 of Bryan Hacker. He's going to slide up underneath him. So Hoffler back to 5th. And look at the ground that Connor has opened up between those two as they were battling side by side. Connor now going to try to pedal as fast as he can to catch up to your top 2, who are still nose to tail, and they might be going out on a limb here. I think the number 13 QC might just be content to ride in second for the time being.
Yeah, possibly trying to save his tires. They are both running faster laps than Dylan Connor and Bryan Hacker at the moment, so they could be easing off a little bit, but at the same time, they're still putting down fast laps, faster than the majority of the field. The only driver that was faster the previous lap was Braiden Campbell. This time, they go much faster. 16.4s out of both of them. Connor with a 16.6 and Hacker with a 16.5.
Yeah, so right now they're battling, and as I said, Guillaume Fortin takes a peek to the inside, got a little bit sideways off of turn number 4, and he'll have to gather it back in. About a quarter of a car length off the backside of that Cintas number 69. So we go on board with the Mad Plowing onboard camera with Randy Nichols. And Nichols trying to protect that race lead as they pull away from third place running Dylan Connor.
And Connor still losing ground, nearly a 2-second gap between himself and Guillaume Fortin. Now actually he's closing up a little bit, much faster than that last lap. 16.5 out of him, so he's faster than both Nichols and Fortin. Now he's got Hacker right on his bumper, so he's got to get himself moving now as we are getting closer to the halfway point of this race.
And we're going to be closing in on the backside of the field. Kelly, we're going to have lap traffic dead ahead as now Guillaume Fortin takes the lows to the inside. He gets down low, has to hit the hooks. Nichols is going to hold on to the race lead.
Yeah, Nichols really pinched him down on the exit of that corner there, so that prevented Guillaume from getting on the throttle, allowed him to carry the speed, but Guillaume carrying more speed through turns 2, not quite enough to make it work. Now off of the corner. Oh, Nichols nearly catches the wall. Guillaume looked like he was going to carry a bit more speed, but had to back out of it once again.
Good stuff around the Concord Motor Speedway as they roll through turns 3 and 4 and on to the front stretch. The bid for your race lead. Guillaume taking a look to the inside, down on the apron. Can he make it stick? Randy Nichols rolls the outside trying to get up, but Guillaume Fortin is there for the race lead. Nichols lets off. He's going to try to cross him off turn number 2. Down the front stretch they come. Fortin is going to be your new race leader.
And he is going to hang on and fight back the counterattack from the 69 car, so he'll hang on to the lead as, the 0-0 hard into the wall there. Trying to just let the field by. That's Josh Nelms catching the outside wall on turn 3 as he was just trying to let Guillaume and Nichols by as he maybe just caught the marbles on the outside of the corner there and just lost all grip.
Yeah, he went straight to the outside concrete, able to continue on. Is now Guillaume Fortin has taken over the race lead, has opened up almost a 0.7 of a second gap over Randy Nichols, and they have all got just about a second, 2.5 seconds back there to Dylan Connor, who is still holding off the advances of Bryan Hacker. And I don't think to any of our surprise up here in the booth that we're talking about Bryan Hacker knocking on a podium position right now. It's closing in on the back half of this race.
And Scott Awesome is able to get around Travis Heffler a little bit further back in the field. Heffler now having to defend against Braiden Campbell as those tires have definitely fallen off the 7 machine. Campbell, though, he's actually having to go high. He's going to allow Rodney Huntoon and the 46 of Phillip Martin through as Martin actually took a peek to the inside. Maybe looked like he was wanting to go for the 12 there. As Heffler, I think, just caught the wall coming to the start-finish line.
A good battle back there, and don't count out the 33. And now Hoffler up the racetrack. So driver that was once in the top 3, he is sliding backwards. Gotta wonder, Kelly, tire woes on that number 7 as Phillip Martin now and Rodney Huntoon, 7th and 8th. They look to close in on the 6th place running Scott Austin. As Fortin has checked out, 2.5 seconds now over Randy Nichols. And Nichols is slowly getting back into the clutches of Dylan Connor and Bryan Hacker.
Yeah, I think Hacker is not wanting to make a move on Connor. He's wanting to just try to work with him, try to see if Connor can close up the gap and not have to do any unnecessary fighting that will slow up the both of them. So he is just following along there as they're closing in on Randy Nichols. However, they are losing ground to Guillaume Fortin. Pretty much lap after lap, that 13 QC car is going faster than the rest of the field. That time, though, 16.7 out of him, so maybe he had, oh no, I think he was just having to work around Chad McLeod. So, McLeod's slowing up right in front of our second place driver as he dives to the safety of pit road.
Yeah, he had to hit the hooks there and made that hard left-hand turn, and I think that slowed up. Let's see this time by what the speed is around the racetrack, and Dylan Connor matching the speed of Guillaume Fortin. But that is some 2.5 seconds back as heavy lap traffic is the 7 of Travis Hoffler. He'll go down a lap, leaving 11 cars on the lead lap here as Hoffler looks like he'll be making the 7 car go pit side.
Yeah, those tires have completely fallen off the 7 car. He pushed a little too hard, and especially through turns 1, and leaned on that front right too much. So that is going to cost him. He's going to have to come down early, as if we have a few other drivers down there, Braiden Campbell and Chad McLeod, as mentioned earlier. As Randy Nichols actually dives down pit road as well, so he has given up on his right front tire as well.
Gotta wonder, will this come into something that we're going to have to see the race leaders come down pit road, or is it just a virtue of maybe pushing those tires a little bit too hard here? So we've seen a number of drivers come down pit road, and green flag pit stops here to change your tires is going to be hard to come back from.
Yeah, but if everyone does have to pit, that undercut may be the play here, because you will be going so much faster while the rest of the field is kind of trudging along on those older tires. Because right now, comparing to the best laps, they're about 0.6 of a second, maybe even more, compared to their fastest laps on those fresh tires where they're running right now.
We'll see where Randy Nichols comes out on the racetrack. He comes out just 1 lap down as they work around this racetrack. You take a look there on the race screen. You can see the 13 working at the start-finish line, the 69 just working through turns 2 and into turn 3 right now. So he's got just about 3/4 of a racetrack to make up and then have to go back around them. So a long road to hoe. But it is doable, I believe, here, especially like you said, Kelly, if these race leaders are going to have to come down pit road.
Yeah, right now what's really hurting Guillaume is he's having to fight past this lap traffic, and a lot of guys after they get lapped are giving up, diving down pit road and giving Dylan Connor and Bryan Hacker pretty much a free pass. So that is saving them a lot of time, and that's allowed them to close up that gap just a little bit. They're now just over 2 seconds behind Guillaume Fortin when it was getting up to near 3 seconds just a few laps ago.
Yeah, that it is, and they're working around this racetrack, and Guillaume Fortin doing a masterful job as he's got the 89 of Dustin Shepard in front of him in the 93 of Chad McLeod in the Renu Sealcoating entry. But Dylan Connor and Bryan Hacker still nose to tail trying to work around this racetrack. And Bryan Hacker doing exactly what he needs to do, is just ride there in the podium. After tonight, just 2 more weeks of racing left to crown the 2025 Renu Sealcoating late model stock champion. Remember, Bryan Hacker came in here 36 points ahead of Guillaume Fortin. So Guillaume Fortin wanting to go to victory lane. He'll gain a few points on Bryan Hacker, but not as many as he would hope so, with just so little races left to go.
Yeah, we're closing in on 25 laps left here, a fifth of the race distance, as Guillaume is now getting up to the back end of Scott Austin here, as he's looking to put Scott Austin a lap down. That's going to leave only 6 cars on the lead lap. Guillaume somehow still finding some pace in this car. He's been able to put down a few 16.5s, while a lot of these other drivers have been struggling for grip, even on some of their fresher right side tires.
And right now, all the top 3 running 16.7s last time by. So we'll have to see now Connor and Hacker both running faster than Guillaume, but Guillaume with a 2.6 second lead. He can maybe take his time getting through this lap traffic in front of him, which has 6th place running Phillip Martin and Matt Hackathorn in 5th right there in front of him. So this kind of a torrid pace that is happening here at Concord.
And the 46 of Phillip Martin did not make that pass easy. He kind of stayed to his line through 1 and 2, and then finally in 3 he moved out of the way, and that allowed Guillaume to get past both himself and Hackathorn, as Phillip Martin is actually going to make the pass to get himself into the top 5 now. As we've only got 4 cars left on the lead lap, soon to be 3, as Guillaume is closing in on the 12 of Rodney Huntoon, who currently runs in 4th place. So you have Guillaume leading the field, and Dylan Connor and Bryan Hacker about 2.2 seconds back from him.
Yeah, that gap has shrunken a little bit, but you got to believe that has to just be with Guillaume kind of tiptoeing through lap traffic. His 2nd and 3rd enjoy a big margin over 4th place running Rodney Huntoon. But how about a tip of the cap to Huntoon? That's up 13 positions. By this time, did not have the best qualifying effort here tonight, but has shown up to race and finds himself inside that top 5.
And just behind Bryan Hacker, we have a pass for position as Heffler gets around Braiden Campbell. Both of these drivers have come down for fresh tires, as Matt Hackathorn will be the next driver to come down pit road. Guillaume Fortin has slowed up a little bit. He's down to 16.8s, but he only has to make those tires last a few more laps as he got around Rodney Huntoon. So now only our podium car is on the lead lap.
Yeah, just top 3 cars, and this would, I think this is what all those old timers would say. Oh, back in the day when, you know, the Cup counterpart was such great racing, and they'd have, you know, Richard Petty that won by 7 laps or something like that. I don't know. But this is a good race out here at Concord, a technical racetrack, and the cream has driven to the top here, Kelly. And by any means, Guillaume Fortin trying to do what he needs to do, which is put that 13 QC into victory lane and finish in front of the number 2 of Bryan Hacker. Bryan Hacker is slowing on the racetrack just a little bit, but he is still glued to Dylan Connor.
Yeah, and I think it's just a case of he's wanting to follow him through, but he's got 2 cars behind them that, despite being a lap down, they're faster. They've got fresh tires. They want to get around, but they don't want to slow up the 2 and the 90, as Heffler is actually going to start looking to the outside, as he's got the grip advantage, he's got the speed, and now he is going to get through. And it looks like Braiden Campbell just saw that and starting to think that he might do the same thing. Got another car down pit road, and that is the 46 of Phillip Martin.
Martin down on pit road. Is this all happening 3.5 seconds behind your race leader? Is now you see Rodney Huntoon up the racetrack. That's going to allow everyone to get by as Phillip Martin comes right back out onto the racetrack right at this battle for your number 2 spot. Is Hoffler up the racetrack once again, as they are just trying to battle their way around there. Oh, almost into the backside of the 90 of Connor was Hoffler. He had to hit the hooks pretty hard there. Is this time off turn number 4? It'll be 10 laps to go for your race leader.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a miscommunication, as the 90 was just trying to let the 7 by, as he realized the 7 was cruising on those fresher tires. But now we've got a big mess here, as Heffler wants to get through, as he's fighting for position. But there's a big battle as the 90 gets in the wall, the 7 gets in the wall, and now the 7 nearly gets into the back of Dylan Connor, who is going to recover, but that is going to allow Hacker through, as it's pretty much unleashing the cork. So many drivers with fresh tires trying to get past these leaders on the old ones.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, did Dylan Connor hurt those tires? Is he going to be able to last another 8 laps here, as he is really fallen off the pace?
Yeah, he's definitely fallen off the pace. He hit the wall fairly hard and is now just trying to let these guys by to just keep it safe, get himself to the end of this race. And now the drivers are stacking up behind the 2 of Bryan Hacker, as Heffler tries to make his way around on the high side. Now a few more drivers behind him also looking for spots here, as these guys can't just cruise around behind them. They're all battling for position, though they are a lap down from the two of Hacker.
Yeah, and right now they're battling for that lucky dog position. If a yellow flag were to come out here, presented by Wizards Designs, and they are battling for right now. Randy Nichols is that first car 1 lap down. And with just 5 laps to go, unless these drivers are really hurt on the tires and maybe needing it, I think we would probably see those first 3 cars stay out onto the racetrack.
Yeah, they might not. They would be pretty much put at the back of the field if they were to. Oh no, they'd still be up towards the front if they were to come pit, and then the rest of the field would take a wave around. But if they couldn't get the tires done before the rest of the field came back around under caution, it would definitely put them further back. So it would be a tough question for them to answer. But we may not have to deal with that as Guillaume Fortin comes around, getting ready to get 2 laps to go here.
Yeah, the Rabbit Ears are up 2 laps to go for the 13 QC of Guillaume Fortin, the driver out of Quebec. Working down the back chute in the turns 3 and 4. He'll come off turn number 4. White Silk is up. It's the final lap here at the Piedmont Challenge 125.
Yeah, just a little bit further to go for the 13 QC. He's been able to make the tires last, still putting up the same lap times as he's been running for basically the last 100 or so laps, as he'll come off the final corner and Guillaume will win the night.
Guillaume Fortin going to win. Bryan Hacker going to try to hold on to that number 2 spot, and he will do so. He'll cross the line. Bryan Hacker comes home second. Dylan Connor going to roll off of turn number 4. He'll cross the line. Connor will round out your top 3, as those seem to be the only 3 cars that are able to make it on their tires, as Guillaume Fortin comes to a stop here on the front stretch. And not sure much tires left on that 13 QC here, Kelly, to do a burnout.
Yeah, definitely not much tread left on those, especially on the right front, but he was able to make them last, able to go the distance here, as he'll be one of only 3 drivers to stay out here on this racetrack. As actually there were a few that did go the whole way. Rob Donaldson, Rodney Huntoon did not pit tonight as well. However, they were not able to save the tires enough and did end up going a lap down.
Yeah, what a masterful drive for Guillaume Fortin, who's back in victory lane. The last time he was in victory lane was out at Okayama, where he dominated the left and the right-hand turns. And tonight, another tricky racetrack as we head into our ZooFab Garage post-race show, as we look at our final here tonight. It was Guillaume Fortin picking up the win, and Kelly has started to make his way down trackside. We'll get them pulled down there as they all get their belts undone. And Kelly, you're down on the racetrack, and a good race here tonight. Man, these drivers are getting unbuckled from their cars, and you are in victory lane with Guillaume Fortin.
Yeah, here now with the driver of the 13 QC, Guillaume Fortin. And Guillaume, how is the car driving after 125 laps on those same set of tires?
Well, surprisingly, still pretty good. I think I did a great job saving my tires, but I think I got into a little bit of an accident with the Dustin at the beginning of the race, and hopefully I don't get penalized for that. But yeah, the car was good. It was fun having a long green flag sequence there at the end. It's a great track for that.
Well, what was it like going through the field as you started to pass the drivers that were on old tires, and then started having those drivers that had pit start coming up behind you?
Yeah, it was pretty much lucky tonight. I think 1 or 2 car with tire passed me, so it was pretty easy for me to manage that. But all the guys that we lapped were pretty clean, and they got out of the way, so it went pretty smoothly there.
Well, after this, only 3 more races to go to catch up to Bryan Hacker. You got Southern National, Lanier, and 5 flags. Do you think you can maybe get it done?
Yeah, hopefully we can get some points. I know Southern National and Lanier are both track that I'm really good at, so hopefully we can get some point there. But Bryan has an outstanding lead on us, and he still managed to finish P2 tonight, so he's very good this year. He's gonna be hard to beat.
Well, thanks for coming out and talking to us, Guillaume. Before we let you go, though, we're going to open up the floor. Who would you like to thank for your win tonight?
Yeah, first of all, everybody that's on the car are our real life sponsor, so a big thanks to them for supporting us. Also, all the admin team at NSRL and you guys for broadcasting the league. It's always fun to be able to race this league on Monday night.
All right, well, thanks for coming out and talking to us, Guillaume. Congratulations once again, and hopefully we'll be hearing from you next week in Southern National.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you, guys.
Says Guillaume Fortin, driver of the 13 QC, and currently your unofficial winner here tonight. As mentioned, he was involved in an unclaimed accident earlier on, so you will have to wait and see what the post-race review says, but we're going to move along here, and Al, I believe, is caught up with our second place finisher.
Yeah, Bryan Hacker up here taking a look at the front end of this race car. Bryan, from that early on wreck to sit here and think that you were going to be on the podium, myself and Kelly were questioning how well you built this race car. It looks like you built it pretty well here tonight.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised, actually. I felt like we hit the wall pretty good there when we wrecked and came in, and it had barely any damage. I mean, I think I was in my pit stall for like 3 or 4 seconds, and then I was told to get back out there, so pretty happy that it didn't do anything worse than that. These walls are kind of angled funny, so you kind of almost ramp up on when I feel like it actually prevented us from getting a whole lot of damage. So from there, we avoided the big one, and that helped get us some track position, and then it was all about trying to save, but trying to come through the field a little bit and all that, we weren't able to save nearly as much as G, so he kicked our ass tonight.
Talk about how tricky this racetrack is. It's one of my favorite racetracks. It's really technical. There's not a corner that is alike here. How difficult is that behind the driver's seat? The kind of, keep that in mind and be able to hit your marks in these unique corners.
Yeah, it's tough, and I don't run here all that much because I hate this track, so it probably makes me worse because I don't run it that much, and it is tricky and it is technical, and I heard that you were the one that put this on the schedule, so you can kindly see yourself out the back door after we're done with this. But we're thrilled, honestly thrilled to get a second. I was thinking at one point there, kind of early on in the race, I was like, man, if we can get to a top 10, I'll feel pretty good. And then some things happened and we got up to 5th, and I thought, all right, let's just take it easy and see where the rest of the run brings us. That wreck took out so many guys that I thought we may have a chance to go green there all the way to the end, and sure enough, we did.
At that point, when you were going green that long, were you worried about the tires?
Oh yeah, I was worried, and I kind of settled in behind Dylan. I didn't want to push him too hard because I thought he was kind of on the same strategy we were, and then once we got to a certain point, once the laps started ticking down, and he wasn't taking off, and I was hearing what kind of lap times G ran. I was like, all right, well, so much for the saving, it's time to go. And we were able to get around Dylan. It got hairy there with all those I guess you could call them lap cars, but the guys that pitted, and trying to maintain second and third, but at the same time knowing that the guys that are behind you, that are technically behind you in position, are half a second, if not more, faster than you. We're just happy we didn't get caught up in some sort of melee there.
Well, I won't take full credit on picking this racetrack. I suggested it to Phillip, and it didn't really take a lot of arm twisting for it to get on the schedule, and I'm glad it was. Congratulations on a second place finish here tonight. Who makes it all possible on this number 2 car here to get on the ZooFab Garage post-race show?
Yeah, Austin Designs and Scott Austin, Boulder Beer Bar, Aberdeen Large, Carbon Junction, you guys for coming out and doing this, the league for putting this on, even though Phil listened to you, so we got to talk to Phil about who he's taking advice from, because it sounds like he needs a little bit of help there. And we'll come back next week. We are going to make it interesting here. I am going to miss a race before the end of this season's done. So, these points are far from wrapped, and getting the win here tonight. I think these last few races here to wrap up the season are going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting to see. We know you always make it interesting. I guess I'm not invited down to the trailer afterwards for a beer, so I guess we'll see you next week when the series heads to Southern National.
Is that next week or is it Lanier? Which one is it?
Southern National next week.
All right, well, both of those are real racetracks, so yeah, we'll see you there.
All right, sounds good. Bryan Hacker going to come home in P number 2. Kelly, you've caught up with our third place finisher and our Mad Plowing Fast Time Award winner, Dylan Connor.
Yeah, here now with Dylan Connor. And Dylan, the end of the race looked like a bit of a hornet's nest as you got stuck with a bunch of cars on fresh tires behind you.
Yeah, I got to the point there. I got up out of the way and kind of let them go. I knew they were a lap down, so yeah, that was wild at the end.
Well, 3 races left here to close out the season. Southern National, Lanier, and 5 Flags. Any of those tracks really kind of jump out at you as a opportunity to take home another win this season?
Yeah, I really like 5 Flags. I've always had some pretty good success there. So and that's a showdown event. So definitely got that one marked. It'd be always nice to pick up a little extra hardware for one of those.
Well, it was a long race here tonight with a long green flag run. You were able to go the full length of the race on that same set of tires, but how bad was it handling on those last few laps?
Oh, it was right rough. I was probably about a whole second off of what I ran in qualifying. That's just surviving. But I knew if I come down, I was going to lose a lap and then lose multiple positions. So I was just trying to hang on there at the end and get a podium.
Well, you did manage to hang on, and you were able to take home that 3rd place finish here tonight. So before we let you go, though, who would you like to thank for your run here tonight?
Yeah, always. I'd like to thank y'all for up in the booth for us. I'd like to thank my sponsors, Perrier Race Parts, Chris and Alan Perrier with Caldwell Banker Elite, my dad for spotting for me, all my family and friends and fiance for all the support, and shout out to G. He definitely whooped us on saving tires tonight.
All right, well, thanks so much for coming out and talking to us, Dylan, and maybe we'll hear from you next week in Southern National.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was Dylan Connor, our 3rd place finisher here tonight, and that will do it for our post-race show, Al.
Yeah, thank Zoofab Garage and the driver of that 89 car. The proud owner of Zoofab Garage is Dustin Shepard, and Zoofab Garage located in Tennessee. Make sure you stop by, whether it's your street car, your hot rod, or race car. Dustin can get your car to the next level of performance at Zoofab Garage. You can find them on Facebook at Zoofab Garage to find out all their cool projects that Dustin is working on, and he says the shop is busy, and that's a good sign, Kelly. But another good night of racing here from Concord. I think it should definitely be on the schedule like 3 or 4 times since Bryan Hacker doesn't like it. So I'll be in touch with Phil and the admins to make sure we can get that to happen.
Yeah, but we are going to be moving along to Southern National next week, and I don't know, Al, what are you expecting from that one?
I mean, Southern National can go one of 2 ways, depending on what kind of mindset the race car, the drivers are going to be in. That racetrack can see 2 wide action. The outside lane can really come out. Guillaume Fortin was involved with one of the closest finishes I've ever been a part of way back when, along with a driver that we used to race a lot with, Nicholas Rasmussen, that used the outside there. So I really think we could see that outside lane come in, especially if we get a long green flag run. Those corners are really high banked. The corners are really sharp. And I think we're going to see a lot of good racing. If I'm Fortin, I'm a little bit nervous about having to start at the back next week, just due to the fact that racetrack can clog up really quick if there's an accident, and the race will go by really, really quick. And next week, the lap times are very fast at Southern National.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to a track where we can maybe see that outside lane work. The last few weeks, it's all been about finding that bottom here, and that really is the case in a lot of short tracks. So it's always nice when we go to a track where you can kind of work that outside lane, and you got drivers working different lines, different strategies, and getting a good race with a lot of passing.
And I really think that we're going to see that in these last 3 races that we're going to go to. Southern National really does have an outside. We got Lanier. We've seen multiple grooves at Lanier, especially now with the new dynamic track coming in play. Along green flag runner, you can see that second and maybe even possibly a third groove open up at Lanier. And how about our season finale at 5 Flags? 200 laps. We know it's going to have some tire strategy coming into play with that, but also the outside will come into play, I think, especially where the drivers are on different tire strategies throughout the night. So it's going to be interesting to see with those final 3 races of the season coming up. And, you know, Bryan said he's going to have to miss a race. So this points battle is anything but over.
Yeah, the points battle is still in play here, but it is going to get tighter here for Guillaume, especially as he is going to have to basically win out the rest of the season and hope for Hacker to have a few rough nights along the way, because Hacker has got himself quite a good cushion here. As it may go down a little bit after tonight, but still, Hacker has got came in tonight with 36, and even with a win from Guillaume over the next 3 races, it's not really in his hands anymore.
Yeah, we're going to have to see how those drops come into play as well as your worst races get thrown out here. Bryan's going to have to throw out a 0 as he will miss a race, taking him out of the perfect attendance here this season. But it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen as we move on here. But we want to thank you all for watching the North-South Racing League's Renu Sealcoating Late Model Stock Series here tonight on the Turn 3 Racing Network. And it was brought to you by Renu Sealcoating. Mad Plowing, located in Oregon, Wisconsin. RC2 Graphic Solutions, your events, our designs. Wizards Designs. Austin Designs, and our friends at Zoo Fab Garage. We will thank you all for tuning on in here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. We will see you all 1 week's time as we head to Southern National for 125 laps. But on behalf of Kelly Dahl, my name is Upstate Al. We thank you all for tuning on in here tonight, and we'll see you in turn number 3. Good night, everybody.